Did you know about the oil that not only restores health, but also brings back the joy of life, even after 90 years? It's not a medication, nor is it a supplement in a bottle. Just a simple spoonful of oil in the morning, and you can lift your arm without pain. Remember where you put your glasses, and fall asleep without worries. I didn't believe it either, until something happened. I am 96 years old, and I felt each of those 96 winters in my knees, in my back, in my heart. I woke up not because I had rested, but because the pain stirred me awake. My joints feel like they've rusted. My brain is clouded. Even the kettle couldn't always be set down straight. I often sat by the window, looking at the garden where I once planted apple trees, and I felt not like an old man, but like a flickering candle. The fatigue wasn't physical. It was deep down, somewhere beneath the skin. And on one of those days, when even the radio felt too loud, my niece's daughter, Sarah, came to visit me, a smart girl who studied nutrition. She brought a jar filled with a thick mixture and said, "Uncle Hank, this isn't medicine. It's an old recipe made from 4 simple ingredients. Take a spoonful in the morning. Don't wait for anything. Just take it. In a week, you'll understand for yourself." I didn't laugh. I wasn't in the mood for laughter anymore. I just nodded and placed the jar on the edge of the table. I had nothing left to lose. There were no other hopes for me. The next morning, I poured a spoonful. Thick, warm oil with a spicy aroma. I drank it, grimacing. The taste is strong, but honest, like the earth after rain. From that day on, I started consuming it without expectations, but with respect. Because something in Lena's voice, something in the scent of this blend reminded me, you're still here, and you can still do this. The first day brought nothing but a strange aftertaste. The second wave was a gentle warmth in my chest, as if someone had lit a tiny candle. By the third time, I noticed I wasn't gripping the armrest as I stood up from the chair. It wasn't a miracle. It felt like waking up after a long winter. Slowly, drop by drop. Not a fireworks display, but a smooth return to myself. On the 4th morning, I woke up before my alarm. Not from pain, not from anxiety, but just awake. I lay there, listened to the silence, and for the first time in a long while, I didn't hear my body groaning inside. Before, my joints would complain, my fingers, lower back, and neck. But now, it's all quiet, soft, like the morning light. By the 5th day, the heaviness after meals was gone. I always thought that this age was just hard to cope with, as everyone says. But it turned out to be inflammation. Oil, the simple mixture, started gently putting out the fires inside, in my joints, in my stomach, even in my head. It was as if someone came through with a bucket of water and extinguished everything unnecessary. Then 2 weeks went by, and that's when I truly realized that I was back. I started walking again without fear, slowly but surely. My knees bent and my feet moved steadily. I picked up the garden hose, opened the gate myself, and didn't flinch once. Sleep felt different, not like when I was younger, when I slept carelessly. Now I slept with gratitude, fell asleep without tossing and turning, waking up feeling refreshed. In the morning, I wanted to do more than just sit. I wanted to live, make toast, water the plants, spread out the newspaper, and hear Mary boiling the kettle. My memory has changed, too. I started recalling last names, phone numbers, and jokes from the time of the war. It felt like oil had not only lubricated my joints, but also my neurons. My mood evened out. Without those low moments when everything feels gray for no reason, I started smiling more, both at people and at myself in the mirror. Sometimes I would even sing quietly, but confidently. On the 30th day, I stood up, walked to the window, and I cried out loud, "There it is, it's back!" My body, my sense of life felt as if I were 30 years old again. Do you know what I was like before this oil? Before this oil blend, I was like an old engine without lubrication, squeaking, shaking, stalling, and overheating. The day felt like a bumpy road. I woke up already tired, and after eating, all I wanted was to lie down. Even joy didn't last in me for more than a couple of minutes. Everything was slipping away like water off a rusty roof. Now everything is different. Not perfect, not without wrinkles, but with substance. There's a strong sense that my body has become my ally again. I compare it like this. Before, I used to get out of bed as if I were crawling out of a bag of sand. Now it feels more like rising from a theater seat after a great performance. Unhurried, but with dignity. I used to hold on to the handrails, even at home. Now I can carry a kettle in one hand and a newspaper in the other. I used to dread the evening. Sleep felt like waiting for pain. Now the night has become a time for rest, not punishment. I used to mix up my great-grandkids' names, but now I call and ask how Jason is doing in school. And the most interesting thing is that even my skin has changed. It feels softer now. I stopped having dry skin on my elbows. Mary said, "You must have been a cedar tree in your past life, and now you're soaking up the nutrients from within again." And I think this, aging isn't a punishment. It's a time when the body starts to communicate with us more loudly. We just often don't want to listen. We numb him with pills, we drown out the pain, we ignore the signals. Yet sometimes it whispers, "Give me warmth. Give me a drop of strength. I'm still here." This oil isn't magic. It's care. Soft, tart, like its taste. It's like having a real conversation with yourself. No rush, no panic. Just remind your body every morning, "I'm with you. I've got your back." And if you're reading these lines right now, don't think it's too late. Don't think that you've already lived your life. As long as you can breathe, you can change. And sometimes change starts with a spoonful of warm oil at dawn. We often say, "What do you expect? I'm already over 70. But the truth is that most so-called age-related symptoms aren't really related to age. They stem from chronic, internal, insidious inflammation. It doesn't hurt sharply like a cut. Instead, it gnaws away from the inside. It damages joints, slows down the brain, disrupts sleep, throws hormones out of balance, and drains energy. Do you know the alarming statistics among older adults? According to the data, 70% of seniors suffer from chronic fatigue that even sleep can't alleviate. More than 80% of people over the age of 65 are diagnosed with arthritis, which means inflammation of the joints. 1 in 3 individuals over 60 experiences sleep problems, including insomnia, frequent awakenings, and nighttime anxiety. Up to 90% of older adults experience symptoms of metabolic inflammation, poor digestion, blood sugar spikes, and brain fog. But importantly, none of this is a death sentence. It's not an inevitable part of aging. It's the body's response to a prolonged lack of essential nutrients, physical activity, warmth, and simple, supportive rituals. Just like this oil. Medicine confirms that natural ingredients like turmeric, ginger, and olive oil have powerful anti-inflammatory effects comparable to mild NSAIDs, but without the side effects. And when you combine them wisely, the effect multiplies significantly. That's why I continue to take my spoonful every morning. Not because I believe in miracles, but because I know inflammation can be managed. And then old age becomes gentle. It comes with its challenges, but also with its joys. Here are the main benefits of this oil. Benefit 1. Reducing pain and inflammation in the joints. Before using the oil, I struggled to lift a cup of tea. My fingers were stiff, and my shoulders ached as if I had just finished a hard day's work, even though I was only tying my shoelaces. My joints seemed to scream, "Leave us alone." Just a week after starting the mix, I was able to calmly take down a mug from the top shelf for the first time, without a sigh, without pain. 2 weeks later, I was once again able to open cans, hold the newspaper more firmly, and not drop it. Why? The answer is simple. Turmeric and ginger are powerful natural anti-inflammatory agents. Curcumin from turmeric blocks inflammatory molecules, while gingerol from ginger acts as a gentle pain reliever without putting stress on the stomach and kidneys. Additionally, olive oil helps to coat and allows the components to penetrate deeper into the tissues. It feels like someone turned off a fire in my joints. Benefit 2. Improved sleep and reduced nighttime anxiety. Before using the oil, I slept like a clock. I would wake up every 2 hours. I went to bed anxious and woke up feeling tired. The morning was hazy, like a poorly cleaned window. On the 5th day of the tour, I fell asleep to the sound of rain and woke up to the morning sun. The first thing I did was check the time, 6:45. I hadn't woken up at all during the night. Not once. It's not magic. Olive oil contains healthy fats that stabilize blood sugar levels, which means no nighttime crashes. Ginger lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, while turmeric calms the nervous system. Pepper aids digestion, helping everything to be absorbed and preventing that heavy feeling in the stomach that often keeps us awake at night. Now I go to bed with the feeling that my body is ready to sleep, without fears, without racing thoughts. Just rest. Benefit 3. Clarity of mind and energy throughout the day. I didn't realize right away how much better my brain was functioning. But one day, Sarah said, "You've stopped getting lost in conversations. You're back." I used to forget why I went to the kitchen. I'm currently reading a book and memorizing the chapters. I'm also solving crosswords. My mind is sharp and focused. Why is that? Olive oil is rich in omega-9 fatty acids, which nourish neurons. Turmeric enhances blood flow to the brain and protects against age-related changes. Ginger improves microcirculation, ensuring that the brain gets enough oxygen and nutrients. And all of this is achieved without stimulants or caffeine. Just a soft, warm clarity. Benefit 4. Easy digestion and a strong immune system. In the past, I would feel exhausted after lunch. There was heaviness in my stomach and a fog in my head. I often felt nauseous. Now, as I eat, I can feel my body accepting the food. There's no bloating, no bitterness, no heaviness. This is the effect of ginger and pepper. They enhance the production of digestive enzymes and improve absorption. Turmeric reduces inflammation of the intestinal lining and supports the liver. Olive oil acts like motor oil in an engine, keeping everything running smoothly. Digestion is the foundation of everything. When it's functioning well, the immune system remains strong, and energy isn't wasted battling food, and you're back in your body. How do you prepare and take the oil mixture? I call it my morning gold. I make it every 3 days, simple, quick, and without any extra effort. The key is to stay motivated, as health is born from ritual. Ingredients for 3 servings: 6 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric, and 1 teaspoon of ground ginger. A pinch, literally on the tip of a knife, of freshly ground black pepper. Preparation: mix everything in a small glass jar. You can gently warm it in a water bath until it's lukewarm, up to 50 troits, but do not let it boil. Store it in the refrigerator and make sure to stir it before using. How to take it: take 1 tablespoon on an empty stomach in the morning, without drinking or eating anything for the first 20 minutes. If the taste is too strong, you can add a couple of drops of lemon juice or have a piece of apple afterward. Course: 14 consecutive days, followed by a 23-day break, and then repeat. I've personally been doing this for 8 months with short breaks. Who should be cautious? People with stomach ulcers may find it irritating, so it's best to start with just a spoonful. If you are taking anticoagulants, consult your doctor. Turmeric and ginger may enhance their effects. At low pressure, monitor whether the mixture drops further. It's important to remember, natural doesn't mean safe. Our age demands respect for details. Therefore, before starting, especially if you have chronic illnesses, be sure to consult with a doctor. If you had told me in 90 that I would feel like I was 30 at 90 summix, I would have laughed, bitterly. Back then, it felt like everything was behind me. But today, after months of having that simple spoonful of oil every morning, I'm not laughing. I am alive. I walk, I think, I feel, I sleep. I'm talking to my body again instead of numbing it with pills. This oil blend hasn't made me young. She brought me to life. Maybe you're by the window right now, with a pain in your back and worry in your chest. Maybe you're thinking, it's too late. But I say, it's the perfect time. Not because you'll return at 30, but because you'll return to yourself. To that version of yourself that won't give up. Give it a shot. Start with just 1 spoonful. Listen to yourself. Don't rush. Maybe in 14 days you'll want to say, I'm home again, in my own body. Now tell me, what helped you feel better at your age? Did you have your own morning rituals that changed how you felt? Share in the comments. Don't stay silent. Your story could be a light for someone else. We age not because we grow old, but because we stop caring. Let's start fresh. With the basics, with kindness, with love.